What's going on, everybody? Welcome to your daily astrology horoscope for Friday, August 16th, 2024. Astrologer Brian Scarborough here, Fixed Air Moon, keeping the collective fixed on astrology. I appreciate you all. I hope everybody had a great week. It's been quite the week, high energy. Nothing changes moving through the weekend all the way through Monday when we do get the full moon on the 19th. So there's just a lot of moving parts. And shout out to my boy, Galactic Mike. Galactic Vibes on Spotify. He's an amazing conscious rapper. He's one of my best friends. He's taught me so much about the just some man stuff like hiking, camping, bushcraft, like so many cool things. Um, One of my favorite Leos in the world. So I love you, bro, and happy birthday. And what a time for a birthday. Hope you have an amazing year. Well, let's look at this Friday. We're in the rinse cycle, or the spin cycle of, the week right now, and we got to get through it. This moon in Capricorn wants us to get through the week. It wants us to just keep going, stay steady. It's going to make a really nice sextile to Saturn. We got to stay in perseverance mode. Keep grinding. We got to hold faith. We got to be responsible to keep the faith and to do the responsible things in action and emotionally, because we're dealing with high Uranian energy. The sun, 3 degrees away from the square. It's going to be an exact square for the full moon in Aquarius that's building up. So this waxing moon is just waxing up with energy, and it's electricity, and it's volatile, and we don't know where it's going to go. So there's just emotional volatility is high right now, and this moon in Capricorn is almost like trying to viciously suppress the electricity and the feeling that's going on. And it won't be beneficial to us. We have to feel things. We cannot suppress, but we can do responsible things. We can do the persevering thing in our life personally to stay on top of our game as best we can and to not get buried, because with these Uranus squares and Mercury retrograde, it's our mind can take us into really, really, really negative, masochistic places, and we got to be very mindful of where we're putting our mental energy right now, our mental capital, because especially with Uranus and Taurus, being capital, right? We have to be very highly intelligent and intuitive about where we're putting our mental capital. Is it negative things, negative thoughts? Is it stuff that's taking us completely out of our empowerment of self and putting us into just a spiral? So Mercury here is in a very intense spot, coming off the yod, coming out of its dignity, and getting ready for a Kazemi on Sunday with the sun. And just a whole ringer. Venus is starting to square Jupiter. Mars just passed Jupiter. This is in Gemini, the sign that deals with our mind. There's just so many. They could be very empowering thoughts and beliefs, but they could also, depending on where you're at right now, be very very detrimental to our own empowerment. And that's the thing right now, is we're so critical and focused on these little things. And especially with Mercury retrograde, these little things can spiral into really big things. And we got to be, it's just mindfulness to be aware that it's not always going to be this way, but there's an energy ramping up for a reason, because something has to change in the environment. Something's got to give. Mentally, you know it, but again, it's are you putting the action into it? So action is so important. We have to be crusaders. We have to kind of put our spiritual body armor on right now and progress forward, and do it with a self-loving manner, not a self-deprecating manner. And really think about the little things that we do, especially from here through the weekend, those little things we do that are healthy for ourselves, that are healing for ourselves, and little things that we can also give to others and be of service. These things are super important, because otherwise, if we're not kind of giving that to ourselves or giving it to someone else, and there isn't a selflessness, then we're almost becoming so hyper focused on self that we're being overly critical and, probably hurting ourselves a little bit, or, probably in a sick way feeling like we deserve it. There's an interesting energy that's so masochistic right now that almost feels like we deserve the pain that can be present, and we don't deserve it. This is a great opportunity to let the electricity show you how to fix things and how to move forward and how to persevere. And we need to remember that perseverance is key today. The moon does square the nodes to start the day. So it's like a very important time to stay on the path, to stay strong, to not, start to teeter-totter between what you know is best for yourself, what you know is going to give you more opportunity in the future, what you know you want, what your goals are. And to not veer into this like, oh, I don't know. There's a ton of healing and a ton of realization that can take place, but we have to be willing to do it, and we have to kind of want to do it, and we have to be okay with maybe feeling the intensity of restriction, but without, suppressing that. Because there's also like this need to like, no, my body armor's so thick, like nothing will get in. Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's, going to work. I feel like that's just going to transfer more to the mind, to the mental, and kind of put things in this big spin and have us do things that then we're going to regret, right? Because Venus square Jupiter wants to kind of like go buck wild a little bit and like get all the things it wants. It wants all the good things. It wants all the good everything. But can it afford it? Does it have the, spiritual capital? Does it have the physical capital? Does it have the spiritual, the capital to give to others? Does it have the relating capital? I mean, these are all things that need to be like in question right now. Because again, it's almost like we can want to give. It's like we're either giving nothing and we're putting so much on ourselves that we're beating ourselves up, or we're over giving at the same time and we're not putting enough into ourselves. And that's where it's a little contradictory. And I feel like, that's where the astrology is a little difficult right now. So, got to stay on the grind. It's definitely a stay on the grind Friday. Like, try to put your best foot forward. That's kind of been the theme all week. Really interesting times. Don't try to predict things. Don't try to make, just take full control. Even Venus in Virgo and a moon in Capricorn and a sun in Leo, like it kind of wants things its way. It kind of wants a little bit of like stability and control, and this is how it's going to be. And it's not. We don't know. Anything can happen. Our environments are changing. Community aspects are growing and changing and being identified. Our mind is growing and changing and being identified. Our heart is growing and changing and being identified. There's so much re-identification coming right now that we don't really know. It's like starting a lot of things, and we just have to be okay with seeing where it goes without controlling an outcome. The only thing you control is your actions. Stay responsible for you. Do the things that are best for you, the things that align with your values, your goals, your uniqueness, your independence. Those are the things to stay persistent for, but again, they might not show up the way you expected. You might have to really tweak something to really see the full creative potential of what you're doing right now. So, a lot to pay attention to. But be easy on yourself through it, because it's not like an easy time for us collectively and individually right now. So we want to do our best to make sure we're reminding ourselves to love ourselves, to take care of ourselves, and to look at ourselves in a very beautiful way and not an over-critically harsh way. And to hopefully try not to look at others that way too, because that can cause a lot of division in itself. So, it's intense astrology, intense days. There's a lot of moving parts, and we're definitely getting thrown around a little bit. So, wishing you all the best. Four of Cups in reverse. This is definitely saying, you know what, it's not all as bad as it looks. You know, there's always something good being presented to us. And today's really a good opportunity to look at the beautiful things that are happening in your life, to look at the things that have been offered to you, to look at the things that are working out, that do bring you emotional gratitude and satisfaction and happiness, and the things that you can keep striving for. And, you know, there's going to be a bunch of other things that are going to be turned over. How much focus do we really need to give that? Probably not much. Let's really shift our focus onto the really powerful good things that are showing up, because there's been plenty of those, and we can always find them if we're willing to see them. Look at the things that are showing up beautifully in your life. Focus on those things. Don't try to control the outcome of those things. Don't try to do any of that, but just be grateful that things are showing up, and that everything that's showing up in another different way is trying to help you evolve, change, grow. But you still have to be willing to do it, and that's up to, you know, us as individuals to make that change. Nobody will ever change or evolve unless they're ready to and they choose to. If you don't want to, you can tell people as much as you want to, you're blue in the face, they need to change. But until they want to change, they're not going to change. Humans just aren't built that way. It's got to be something we do on our own. So, got to respect people in their process right now, and we got to respect ourselves too. And we got to also know, if we want to make a change, we have to want it, and we have to do the necessary things to make it happen. There's a lot of mixing up going on. It's like musical chairs. So just try and grab a chair and be happy that you got one. You know what I'm saying? I love you all. I hope you have a great Friday. Definitely can be good. I'm not trying to say that, you know, the world's coming to an end or anything, but it's an intense weekend. The energy is through the roof, and I hope you use it well, and I hope you just are making the best out of your life right now. I love you all. Have a great Friday, and I'll see you for the weekend forecast tomorrow. Much love. Peace.